Members of Congress, President Wilson has expressed support for a declaration of war, and I urge you to do the same. For the past 3 years, the United States has expressed deep worry concerning the Great War, but neglected a call to action. Now, Germany's heightened aggression directed towards America has made the question indisputable. This is no longer just a European war. It concerns the world, inclusive of the United States. With Germany's blatant disregard for the safety of Americans, the resumption of unrestricted submarine warfare is destined to put hundreds of American lives at risk, adding to hundreds of civilian lives already taken. Germany has foregone international sea treaty, turning the Great War into a lawless campaign with no consequence. They refuse to let the United States maintain a stable, neutral position. The Zimmermann telegram shows their capacity to be militant towards a country that has persistently sought for peace. The telegram sent to Mexico asking to ally against our nation is a point of national security and must be taken into account. Germany repeats the same strides of belligerence, taking no heed to our cautionary and adamant responses. We have severed diplomatic ties with Germany, but this is not enough. They will press on and continue to take our civilians, our national security, and our American values. The German autocratic establishment endangers the American right to freedom and democracy. The situation is dire, and concern that the Central Powers will dominate in the war effort is great. The Allies have weakened since Russia stepped out of the fight, opening the doors for Germany to expand its standard of absolute power and totalitarian rule. Any win for Germany is a loss for the United States, and so we must intervene. Action must be taken to preserve our fundamental rights in a fight for both the American people and world peace. This war will prove to be a necessary evil, essential in order to reinstate peace and order, and as President Woodrow Wilson asserts, be a war to end all wars.
Members of Congress, I am Jeanette Rankin from Montana, and we are here to discuss President Wilson's declaration of war. Before you side with President Wilson, you should understand that this war will cost millions of dollars and will take the lives of millions of Americans, and all for a cause that the United States has no interest in. Millions of people have already died in a useless, stagnant battle on the Western Front. And Russia, which has a much larger military than us, has already been defeated. Think of the wives who will become widows and the children who will become orphans, the soldiers who will lose their job going into war and come back with trauma, shell shock, and injury. Think of the men and women who will not come back at all. This will rip apart families and our day-to-day lives. President Wilson wants to go to war to protect the American people, but going into war will only hurt America more. Advances made by Germany by sending the Zimmermann telegram to Mexico have put American civilians and politicians at unease. But our national security is no weaker than it was before. Mexico will never ally with Germany. It is still recovering from the 1911 revolution that overthrew President Huerta. And it does not have the financial capability or the political stability to back a war. These threats made by Germany are empty, and we should not fear them. President Wilson also wants to protect the people from unrestricted submarine warfare. While this German policy has killed American civilians and merchants, more people will die in the war. I urge Congress to momentarily end trade near the British Isles and the English Channel until it is safe, and for them to caution all merchants and travelers, but do not call for war. I remind Congress that the United States has a long history of non-interventionism, dating back to our founding fathers. They envisionized America as a country that prioritizes national interest and the lives of its people over foreign affairs. The Great War has been a long series of messy, bloody battles. I do not wish that upon the American people. For these reasons, I want to stand for my country, but I cannot stand for war.